Brownie Chat. Another
what
week,
was that?
another episode.
Episode 43.
Yes, 43. Thank you for liking, subscribing if you've reached to this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I was just thinking. I was saying this to your mum as well. Maybe the last 3 weeks, I'd say, we've gained quite a bit of subscribers. Sorry. Because we were stuck. We said this in the last episode. We're stuck.
On
and
like
we were at
78,
100.
and now we're on 112. So
thank you.
Yeah, no, but we do appreciate it, and we're glad you're liking the content.
Do I look tired?
Yeah. No, I'm joking. You know. So yeah. So there's a couple of episodes that I feel like we can not recap the episode, but talk further on, or do like a second part to, like the love we're meant to do.
I literally was just gonna say, like, what is love? But also, before we go into that, I had a question in mind.
No, but I'm not saying this episode. I'm saying further. There's certain topics that we spoke about that maybe, even some of the ones that we spoke about in the first few episodes.
Let's recap,
but also like do a second part to it and see what we missed out on and stuff like that. What?
I feel like I'm doing a jog now because it's so hot. What is this weather?
We always complain that it's cold, and now.
No, but like this is just ridiculous.
Yeah. So yeah.
Put on the pod.
It doesn't matter. It's natural.
Okay, question. So from tomorrow, it's not even funny because this actually happens to me, but like, I just find it funny for myself because I would just look so weird if I lost a leg. I don't mean it in a bad way. Like, I'm just saying, like, I literally woke up and I've lost a leg. Like, what would you do?
This is the type of questions girls ask. Like, if I was a worm, would you still love me?
Have I asked you that?
No, but like everyone's.
Have I asked you that?
Maybe, yeah. If I was like a slug, would you still love?
No, but you go. If my face was like this.
Shut up. But I'm being serious.
No, but I'm being serious. Like people like if my leg. Okay, let's change the question slightly. So I wake up, I go to hospital, and they've got to amputate my leg.
Right.
What would you do? What, like, obviously, my
I feel
life...
like you should have discussed it with me before.
I can't help it.
I feel... Do you know what? I don't know. I wouldn't leave you.
No, but let's deep it, because... Look, I know you wouldn't, like... No, we'll talk about loving me less or anything.
Oh,
what? I'm talking about, like, obviously now, I'll probably... Say it's my left leg, okay? Because my left leg's really strong. Me walking on my right leg or trying to even... Well... Just being able to walk with one leg.
There's wheelchairs and stuff, isn't there? No, I'm serious.
But like, my life will be changed a lot. You're going to have to carry me up the stairs.
No, we'll just get that lift put in on the stairs.
It's going to be like, No, but I'm being serious, and like, I'm going to be really sad. I'm not going to be able to like drive.
I still feel like you'll...
Actually, I will be able to drive, but I have my right leg.
I still feel like you wouldn't let that bother you. You'd be annoyed.
But do you know what? Should I tell you something? I feel like I don't know why, but I have this feeling inside me, and I have had this feeling for like I don't know how long now, but that because you know how weak my right leg is, that like it'll get to a point where they're just gonna have to like amputate it.
No, because it's not. You're not physically disabled.
Yeah, but I feel like it could get to that point.
No, that would happen if it was inactive. It's still no.
No, I know that. I'm not talking about right this second.
No, it won't happen.
Hey, that's so rude.
No, do you know what? It's funny you ask that because I was listening to a conversation and the guests were one therapist and one therapist and a doctor. Basically, there was two in their field, and they're really like good in their industry. Anyway, so there was a question asked about marriage, right? and the question was, do you think it's important to have marriage counselling before you get married, right? So often, more times than not, especially in non-Asian, non-Muslim couples, they tend to, like you told me about this as well, about one of your friends, but they don't tend to have the right conversations before committing to a long-term relationship. And like 5-6 years down the line, big questions that should have been asked before or discussed before are now a problem. For example, having kids. Like maybe in the first year, the girl has said like she doesn't want kids, and the guy's just assumed, oh, she'll change her mind, but hasn't really like spoken more on it. And then it comes to 5 years down the line, he loves her and blah blah blah. Like nothing's gone wrong, but they're having that conversation again because now he's financially ready or whatever, or he feels like he wants to have kids.
But she still doesn't.
And she still doesn't. And he was like, what do you mean you don't want to? Like in this scenario. And I feel like the problem stems from not having had that conversation prior to being married or prior to being in a long-term relationship. I know it's so early days to ever ask in the first year, like, oh, would you ever want to...
But can I say one thing before you'd be surprised actually a lot of people do. Because when you're like in the... Like,
you talk about it, I can't wait to have a family.
Yeah, and then obviously that comes up, so it's silly that when it gets to that point people are like, we never spoke about it.
And I feel like that is actually emotionally unintelligent then, because you've not had that conversation.
I think if you're 18 years old, then yeah, so or like 15.
But it's funny because you posed the question about losing a leg, right? And in serious circumstances, like for example, your health, right? It was made aware to me prior to everything.
Yeah.
And I was asked, would I be okay with that, knowing like what can happen, worst case scenarios, best case scenarios. And obviously then it would be wrong of me to then 5 years down the line say,
why is this not happening?
Why are you still being ill, and why am I having to still deal with it?
How dare you be ill?
No, seriously. And then, but having been told that before. But for example, say if you just lightly said to me, like, I get ill a few times, like sometimes in the year and whatever, and then it comes into like during the marriage, I'm finding out you've got like the dyskinesia and all of that.
Yeah.
I'm not wrong.
Dyskinesia.
But you've got the heart problems and I'm finding out bit by bit through the marriage. Then I feel like the guy or the girl is entitled to feel some sort of way that she's not been, or they've not been opened up to. So now I can actually say, look, I didn't sign up for this.
But I think also, can I just say, like, from this point, that as much as I've told you so many times, always before marriage, I told your family, like everyone told each other that I shouldn't get ill, blah blah blah, like, whatever. And you all are aware, but I don't think, especially with an illness like mine or somebody who's got similar or another illness that is at a quite severe high level of seriousness, I don't feel like anyone, because even like when I say it at work, when I say it at work or I say it to my friends or whatever, they don't actually realise, because you could go, yeah, no, of course I accept it. Obviously you're different because you understood because you saw me, I really went into detail. But even if I did go to detail, you still could think, actually, no, I didn't realise it was like this.
Now, I feel like that's just...
That's then you being silly.
Then that's the guy's fault. That's the person. But what I'm saying is...
I know what I'm trying to say. Hold on a second, sorry. I still feel like even that, like, I still feel like even sometimes with, like, not just my family, maybe some, like, of my family, or, you know, even like your sister.
No, I get that. No, like, I know what you're saying.
I feel like they don't, or your mum now, obviously, but maybe at the start I would have been like, I don't think she really understands when I say I'm ill. She knows now that when I'm ill and I say I don't feel good, like it means it's the start of me getting worse.
And she always asks now.
Yeah, like, but I'm just saying, like...
But one, that takes time to learn.
But that's what I'm saying,
and
so
being
it
in your
could be
presence.
2-3 years into
But
marriage.
however, there's still a level of understanding that should have been there prior.
I don't think so because
No. I mean by like verbal understanding. Like,
no, but like my mum, when she always says like, obviously having me, and I was born ill. Obviously, the doctors told her, but even like for her, like it still was a massive thing.
No, I understand that. No, that's deriving from my point. My point is, you can't know something and then choose afterwards that this is. You can and you can't. You can't selfishly then say like, oh well, I didn't think it was going to be like this. That's you just being naive and not understanding. There is more to it. But if, for example, they're ill and it's actually taking a toll on your mental health, and you're like, this is actually affecting me now, and it's something that I can't actually live with because it's affecting my day to day, and maybe I'm not as strong to be able to deal with that. Then I think you have to look at it with open eyes and less narrow-minded, and think, well, actually, he might be thinking selfishly. You can, in some ways, be selfish and say, look, I'm really sorry, like I can't deal with this. And then you have to, again, I was saying, you have to look in with an open mind and think, look, he might be being selfish, but it's not going to benefit the partner if he carries on like that, because he's going to get worse and then he's not actually helping them and stuff like that. But if you're doing it from a point like, can't be bothered anymore, like, then it's like a selfish kind of
But I
decision.
still feel like, how much do you want to talk?
But I just want to... No, go on, go on.
Bloody hell.
No, but then I was...
What is this? Bloody Nafees show? No, I'm joking. I'm just trying to make it all up. Carry on.
No, go on. No, I don't know what I was going to say now.
But I still, to some extent, disagree. Like you're saying, if they're like, oh, I can't handle it. I thought I could handle it, but I can't. But I feel like 7 years deep into the relationship, whether it's marriage or just a relationship, because I feel like it might get to 5 to 5 years. Okay.
Yeah.
I still feel like I should know. Like you've known now for 5 years, and
you should have said after the first year if that was going to happen.
And also, if you love me, it doesn't matter. Like, because it's not like it's for, I don't know. Like for example, in my case, I'm not ill 24/7.
No.
Why did you go?
I didn't.
I can be ill.
But what I think is like the whole point is having the conversations before you get married.
But I don't think, and I think a lot of people say, for example, you don't like someone who goes out. Okay, like so if you're getting married and you're talking to someone, whether it's a guy or a girl, and that person goes out, on the weekends or goes out in the evenings. It could even be they're just going out with their friends for a couple of hours. That's what they do on a daily routine. Okay, and then Saturday, Sunday, they're always out. They're going out and about, whatever it is. If you don't like that, because obviously people do change once they live in a relationship. They start to, but they still want their time with their friends, because obviously friends are important. But if you don't want them to go out,
you shouldn't have married them.
Yeah.
But I agree with that. But also, that person has also committed to the relationship, so their priorities
of course,
should
change.
change.
It could change.
And they should level it out. But then, if she completely hates the whole idea,
that's what I'm saying. Like
then she's in the wrong for.
Say if he goes out 7 days a week or 6 days a week, and she goes, you can only go out 2 days in a month. I can understand as a guy or a girl who does that, whoever it is, to just from going to 7 to 2. 7 times a week to then 2 times a month, and obviously, if they've got like I don't know, I don't know how to explain.
Yeah, no, but then
that's
I feel like she's marrying the wrong person then, or he's marrying the wrong person, or whatever way around it is, because them kind of things you should discuss beforehand. Like that's an
issue, because for me,
if that's an issue, that's like saying to someone who plays basketball full time, I really love you, but. And not having discussed this, and still married to that person, and then a couple months down the line has said, "I don't want you to play basketball anymore. I want you to stay at home and be with me." No, you've married. You knew who that person was.
I think that's a good point, because, for example, someone who goes football and trains football every weekend, like that's their say.
Like
for
someone
example,
who goes gym and stuff.
Yeah, no, yeah. Okay, actually, that's a good example. So you go gym all every single day, 5 days a week. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, why are you like?
Go on.
Oh, why are you scared?
Go on.
But then it's like, because I mean, there are times I'm like, oh, you can just go later.
Which I don't want to, but yeah.
Whoa, what is this hostility going on?
No, but no. Yeah. Okay, go on. So make your point.
Okay, like he's adjusted it. Has adjusted it to go in the mornings, I guess, 'cause before he used to go in the evenings, right?
Well, kind of, but
Like,
yeah.
when you first started off, I think only since you've known me, really, you've started going in the mornings.
Yeah.
Because also when we, like, were talking before the marriage, you used to have the evenings of the week and speak. So that's why I feel like that's, before you were saying, I went in the evenings all the time. You went from like 9 till 10 o'clock or whatever. So now you do it in the mornings. But then there are some times, I don't stop people from going 5 days a week. Like, you can only go once a week. But there are sometimes where, like, if, for example, like, I've been on 6 weeks holiday, and I'm just like, you don't have to go. Like, you can just go late or just have today off. Like, where, like, the one-off, I never say every single day. I'll say just, like, if I'm off of work, and I'll say, just today, you don't need to go. He goes, but I have to go. Ooh.
But I feel like even that one-off of you saying that, I'm not bothered by it. Like, I'm just saying, even that one-off, that could have been the one day that I was really looking forward to it, or like, and that's why I've reacted
when you
negatively.
have to communicate.
No, but then like that one day maybe is actually my plan. I'm doing a schedule, or
Because I do think sometimes I'm like, but your life is not going to end if you miss one gym session. Like,
but it's not about that.
Okay, but can I just say something?
No. I want to dispute that right now. Because it's not about
Why
that.
is there so much like?
No, it's
chill?
not. No. What it is you lightly think that it's just one day. To you, I'm just saying loosely. You're saying that. It's just one day, but to me, that's my lifestyle. I have to do said thing, which is gym, to be like mentally okay. Like you might not. This still might be something you don't fully understand about me.
Yeah, I get that. No, I do.
Same way, like health. I know the health and the gym is completely different.
Completely
different.
Very different, thank you. Because I could literally die.
Completely different. However, for me, I don't just go gym for.
Okay, can I just say? I know you do it for mental release.
Not even just that.
No, but like stress release, and you get like I know.
You know that, but then. But when even on the off occasion that I'm stopped going or asked to go later, you know what I'm like with timings. Like I get very anxious when I'm like late for something. Like today, I was literally 35 minutes early to the interview, and I walked around because I just hate the idea of being late to something, whether it's work, whether it's anything, family outings.
Okay.
No.
No, I know you're late. You don't like being late.
No, but. I still think you don't understand, or people don't understand. It's a level of anxiety when I'm trying to get out the door for a certain time, and I'm pressuring you or others around me like, "Come on, let's go," and you're like, "Oh, it's just a couple of minutes," or relax. Or to me, it's not. It's not a couple of minutes. I get so anxious when I leave.
Why do you just leave?
Without you?
Yeah, and then I'll just come follow behind you.
That's not the point I'm making. So I still don't think people understand that about me. That I hate being late to things. So...
You were literally late to our wedding.
No, not my... And how anxious was I that whole time?
I don't care, you were late to the wedding.
No, be quiet. I wasn't late. We was actually on time. It was your side that was late.
No, the only reason we were late is because you didn't turn up.
No, that's so not true. We were waiting for your guests.
Yeah, we didn't have any guests. We didn't have any guests.
Yeah, you did. We were waiting.
Actually, no, do you know what it was? It's because he thought we had more guests and they didn't turn up.
Yes, exactly.
It's not my fault.
No, we were just waiting in a car park for ages.
But you still turned up at 5 to 1 when your entrance should be at 1.
But it didn't affect anything.
Why did you come in 5 minutes before?
Anyway, Aisha, I was anxious that day. Anyway, what I'm saying is, yes, I get anxious about timings. So when you or someone says you can't do this on a certain time, do it another time, there's cogs running in my head that now I'm anxious that whether it's serious or not, I'm anxious that I'm now having to adjust my timings mentally.
Okay, but if there's literally nothing going on in the day.
It still affects me.
Okay, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about you're not going gym and you're like, I need it to help. But what about, does you not spending time help you?
But I'm not choosing.
Wow. That's it.
No, see, you can't. It's not comparable.
No.
It's not comparable
So
because
if I
would always.
No,
Listen. I would still prioritise you.
Oh, clearly.
I have done so many times.
Clearly. So if I die tomorrow, all those times where I was like, please just, you'll be like, honestly, I could have had that extra half an hour with her. You'll regret it.
No, that's you're
alleviating.
You're alleviating from the point. What I am saying is, I do know. I'm not stupid. If it's like I'm emotional as well. If it's a matter of spending time with you and we're doing something, I will spend time with you. You know I will, and I do delay my timings. I'm just saying it does mentally affect me. I'm just saying that.
You mentally affect me.
No, but see, you're not understanding.
I know, I do.
You're not understanding.
No, I do get it, because I know what you're like with bloody timings. It's like, chill out, mate.
So, exactly, and I can't chill out.
Just chill out. He starts like pooing on the floor. He's... I don't like it.
So...
You're literally like...
No, because I anxiously
when people turn up at our house, he can't... People like, who have guests come over, he literally goes...
No, I don't.
He like walks around the house.
Because if they've given me a time that they're going to be here, I'm mentally ready for them to be there at that time. And not saying your family, I'm saying anyone that comes here. Or we do something.
No, but I'm just saying...
If they're late, I pace around because I'm waiting impatiently.
And then he hears the doorbell, he goes... and he's all like, what are you doing? Do you know what? I used to be like that when my cousins used to come over. I used to hide.
You're a freak.
So when they used to come... I think I've said this before on the podcast, but I used to get so excited when they used to come over, my cousins from London, and or like family friends that come over. So mum would be like, oh, they're here. And I literally go and hide, like behind the door or something.
You're weird.
This is when I was a kid.
So yesterday.
What? No one came over yesterday.
Anyway, what?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
But I was just so excited I just had to hide myself for a minute. Just to like compose and then come up and be like... It's like when you guys came over, I actually didn't want to hide and my mum hid me when you came over first time.
What do you mean you didn't want to hide?
Because I thought like I'd be meeting you guys like they were how they met you. But mum was like, no, stay in the kitchen and then I'll call you. So I remember I made my grand entrance.
No. I don't remember it.
You were bloody looking.
Anyway, so what was the point? So it was about counselling before being married, right? So the reason I mentioned all of this is because you mentioned about the leg being like bitten off or whatever. So in this conversation they said, have you discussed how your partner would react to you getting severely ill? Whether it's, they actually use that example, losing a leg or losing a limb or
even like getting cancer
or Alzheimer's or anything. Like, I do feel like to some extent you should discuss these things.
Yeah, that's so true.
And be like, what would you? I know there's all these stupid questions like, what would you do if I was a worm? But like realistic, hypothetical scenarios.
If you get into an accident, get into a car accident.
Like, how would you react? And on a serious level. Yeah. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say like.
I just can't.
No, about accidents, because that can literally change your life. Like someone I knew, he was my age or like a year or two younger than me. Anyway, he got into a car accident and he was in the middle. He didn't have his seatbelt on. They got into a car accident. He went flying through the window.
I remember you telling me.
Yeah, and now like his brain, I think is like
Asian guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like so he's let's just say he's 25. He thinks like a 15.
12-year-old, yeah.
Yeah, like he thinks like younger, whereas before he was like obviously at his normal, he was just a normal healthy guy, and he is still healthy, but obviously now he needs support. I don't know.
Is he the one that got married as well?
No.
Recently?
I don't know. I haven't spoken to them in like 10 years. I don't know, so I don't know what it's like now. But I know when we first like saw them after like the accident and stuff, he needed like a lot of help with putting clothes on and stuff like that. So, and he was like a 12-year-old boy, but was thinking. So, for example, if we ever get into a car accident or something, and something like that happens, one of us, our brains could like go backwards, and then what I would then have to literally, or you'd have to baby me in a sense.
Yeah, so that conversation should be something that should be discussed.
Yeah.
Something.
But then I think that comes in line in the the marriage contract, because like till death do us part. Well, obviously that's the English one, but I don't know what exactly the Islamic. But
in sickness and in
but
health.
But it would be the same, like in sickness and health. Yeah.
So that's what I mean. Like I do get that, but I still feel like people don't understand what they were agreeing to.
No, I know, but then that's a bit silly.
That is silly. That's what I'm saying. There are so many like weddings that have happened.
That's why a lot of divorces happen.
Exactly, but they
made 42% of divorce happen in the UK.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I read it the other day.
Okay, let's not talk about that. Anyway,
but it's
yeah, okay, I get that.
About.
But what was really interesting was you should go severely into a topic as worst case scenario.
I think that should be like the questions you ask when you get to know each other. Not,
yeah, like
what's your favourite colour? Where do you like to eat? It should be
because you would learn.
You'll learn that anyways. It could be like back religion. Obviously, if you're a Muslim, what is your view of Islam, basically? Because you'll get a lot by that. Someone goes, "Oh, I don't really." You'll know there and then, like if they're on their deal, or they might be like, "I'm not on it at the moment, but I really want to get closer to."
Yeah, so then there's
things
levels
like
that you.
Because I think we had that actually. I think we said something like that. Like we were at that point, we weren't really, like where we are now. But we always said like we would. That's something that I want to get closer to.
But that's it. That's. I mean, I still feel like even us, we haven't had certain conversations that we maybe should.
So if I got to
I'm not talking about it here.
Will you still love me?
No, probably not. No, I'm serious. Like maybe there's certain conversations we haven't had.
But for example, The Vow. Have you seen The Vow?
Yeah. No, I know. Yeah.
That's literally it, isn't it?
But also, like.
What
but she had a brain injury. Like she couldn't remember.
That's what I'm saying. So imagine, okay, I forget like the last 5 years. I literally don't know who you are. What would you do? That's based on a true story. And she never.
I wouldn't ever give up. I don't think.
She never regained her.
And then she just fell in love again.
She just fell in love with him because obviously your brain technically, obviously still remembers, but you can't like some sort of like.
So. It's like. Even the kids thing, like talking about having children and stuff. We spoke about that before.
Yeah. And like you knew like the pros and cons basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And there was a full understanding there. But what would really throw me off was, I know all about your health. And then a year down the line, we're talking about kids again, and you then tell me like, that's actually a really whatever, or whatever the situation is, or like you tell me that it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
And you haven't made that clear before.
Yeah.
That is an issue. So.
Okay, so what would you say is the top 4 things you would need to discuss before getting married?
Kids. 100%. Finances.
Yeah.
Definitely like how to split them or how good you are with saving, because you might end up marrying someone who's really bad at managing their money and they're always in debt, but you didn't know that because it's just something you didn't ask, and they've got like 50 grand's worth of debt to cover, and you're now tied into that. Or
if you're really good at saving and they're not, and you're like, okay.
Yeah. So that lifestyle. So whether, like you said about going out and stuff, but also.
What do you expect from each other, maybe?
Like. It's just reminded me, but yes. So what you expect from each other.
So like, for example, can I just say one thing, like going on like boys' holidays and girls' holidays, like some people might be okay with that.
Is that okay or not okay? Yeah. And the other thing was I think it's important to know how you feel respected. Because if I know that, that means that I do them things actively and then not worry, then everything else falls in line with that. Because if I now automatically do things that make you feel like you're a queen, like for example, it could be making a tea every day, for example, you could be like, he does the one thing that I really wanted in someone. So then you might ignore some, not red flags, might ignore some like...
Beige flags.
Some
what
like...
are they called?
Some...
yeah, like minor things. Like
minor things. Yeah. So you might think, but he does this. And that's a big thing for me.
So things are important to you. Like, for example, if I want you to like make me tea every day, I don't know, or even in the morning, make me tea in the morning. These are just examples. It could be that just make sure you wipe the surfaces.
Yeah. So no, but okay. Just quickly, because I think we've got literally 2 minutes to talk. But the other, so that's the 4 things, right?
But can I just add the 5th thing would be religion.
Okay, yeah, religion, yeah. But as was, oh, you mean the level of?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. And then quickly, I just want to mention that so it's really important to put your partner on a pedestal, and that doesn't mean you make them. And this really hit me today that I heard it. It doesn't mean you make them feel like they're above you, but you make them feel that they're the only girl in. No, let me explain.
Yeah.
The only girl in the world. But there comes a point where you have to knock them off their pedestal if they've annoyed you or if they've done something that's disrespected you. You communicate that. That doesn't mean you give them the queen status and say, oh no, it's fine. Like you have to tell them what will make you feel disrespected and vice versa. Because I feel like if a woman knows what a guy wants to feel respected, for example, it could be just knowing that there's a coffee there at the end of the day. Like that's just one thing that makes me feel respected. And that will then make me feel like, well, actually, if you've got a request, why not just, I can do it. So you know what each other feel is respected to each other.
It's like the type of love language.
The type of love language, I guess, yeah. So
because that's what it is. It could be like you don't care about physical touch, but you really care about gift.
So, for example, outside people might see you or me being bossy, and you're accepting it, but they don't know that there's a couple of things that person is really doing for that person. That's just, it doesn't matter that they're bossy or it doesn't matter that they're this. So no one really fully understands that, but only the couple will.
Exactly.
But I do think it's important that you have certain conversations before marriage. Anyway, sorry, I have spoken so much this episode, but I had so much on my mind now after we spoke about.
You literally started the podcast with what we're talking about. You literally had.
No, but it only just came to me after you mentioned about your scammy leg or something.
Stop it.
Not yours. I mean, like if you lost it.
No, you meant your scammy leg.
No, I mean like if you lost.
Can I just say before we go, me and my mother-in-law have started a podcast called Spill with Mill and Dill. It will be here. So please follow us on there. Yes, it will.
No, you're not taking all my followers.
They're ours.
You're not taking all our followers.
Anyways, but yeah, please.
No, yeah, they are starting a brand new.
Actually, it'll be already out by the time this is out.
Yes, so obviously she's. Well, I'm going to be. Well.
Yeah, anyway. But yeah.
So yeah, Spill with Millendale. But anyway, follow us on our socials. You know what to do.
Subscribing.
So I feel like a lot of you are not subscribing. So please follow us.
Now?
Yeah, like us, subscribe us. Follow us on our TikTok, YouTube, Instagram at the Brownie Chat Podcast. You know what to do. And we will see you next week with part 2 of this, because I want to talk more on this.
Okay.
About the respect thing. But yeah, anyway.
To be continued.
Peace.